All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Parallel League podcast. I am your host, Allie. And before I introduce our guest today, I just want to, acknowledge this is the first episode of the Parallel League podcast. Basically, there's so much going on with competitive parallel that we were like, well, let's make a podcast. So this will be, a great destination for you to learn about what's going on with the league. But it won't just be about the competitive stuff. We're going to have, really great guests to come on and just talk about various things within the parallel ecosystem and, talk about all things news related with parallel. So I'm really excited. But with that, we've got two incredible guests today. We've got Mookah and Quinto. If you are in the community at all, you absolutely know both of these two. Mookah, an incredible caster, content creator, also a coach for Exile Esports. And Quinto, also an incredible community member, caster representing PDAO, and also the first tournament winner ever in Parallel, right? I believe.
yeah, correct.
So you are very qualified to be on the show today, and we're going to talk about the pre-show for the major. But how are you both doing today?
I'm doing good. We're filming this on a day before a patch, so it's a nice day to relax and reflect on the tournament. It was a crazy tournament. I think, the competition in this last one was absolutely insane for a major, and it's to be expected, right? Because this was an invite. So yeah, we have a ton to talk about. The next weekend with the actual top 8 is going to be crazy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ali, for the introduction. Definitely, an absolutely insane lineup here for the tournament, I would say, because this was like a compact of all the good players that have been in the ladder lately. So definitely, I would say the top 8 looking like it was the most competitive tournament till date.
Yeah, definitely the competition is super fierce. I think before we get really stuck into talking about the Swiss rounds this past weekend and, going over the deck list and everything like that, let's just talk about some news real quick. The big thing that has kind of gone live in the last week or two is the YGG event. And we've got a double minor qualifiers coming up on October 12th and 13th, and then also October 26th and 27th. So it's a double minor, and if you make top 8 of those qualifiers, that's going to get you into the grand finals LAN at the YGG Play Summit in Manila in the Philippines. So going to be a pretty crazy event. Like I am going to be there. It's probably the thing that I'm looking forward to the most. How are you guys feeling about the event? It's $100,000 prize pool. Like that's kind of absurd, right?
Like, yeah, I mean, we had a hero here, a hero called Parallel ARF.
Yes.
This dude doubled down on the prize pool for the tournament. So it was actually a 50K, I guess. And then he just put on 50 more. I guess definitely regarding YGG, what they are doing here in the Philippines and all the players they're recruiting constantly and the absolutely insane team they have of streamers also and great players. It deserves a prize pool like this, definitely.
Yeah, I think the NBA, for those in the US, had done something similar like this a few years back, where they hosted like a mini tournament within the regular season, and it was amazing. Like so many people were hyped and super into it. And actually, the biggest criticism that time was that the NBA championships weren't as excited as like the mid-season tournament. So I don't think we'll have to worry about that with Parallel, but I think it just goes to show you that like people do like to see like this kind of competition and have like these big events happen even during a competitive season that's already ongoing. So I think it'll be really cool. The first like major LAN, like there was one in Paris this year, but that was like a bit more small scale during NFT Paris. But this one is going to be way bigger. YGG events are absolutely massive. So to have that land, like I'm planning on going to, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I can't imagine what it'll be like to, be there and see who shows up from the community and getting to meet people. That's always like the best part, right? And to see like somebody win live in person is always crazy.
Yeah. From my experience, it's really those in-person tournaments, like getting to see people face to face, that those are the memories that really stick with you. So I think, there's going to be many more in the future, I think, but if you can make it out to this one, I think, you should definitely try and go if you can. Just to give you a little bit more information about it, it's November 19th through the 23rd, again in Manila. And in addition to the Parallel tournament, there's also going to be the IRL Game 3 awards ceremony. So that should be really cool. There's also going to be cosplay competitions, live demos, and high-octane show matches of the hottest Web3 games. So it's going to be pretty hype.
You think we'll get Parallel cosplay at
that
this
would
one?
Be cool. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless for really good Parallel.
I want to see Orphan show up in a Tane cosplay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Expect nothing less. So one more time though, if you are interested in trying to qualify for that, make sure you don't miss the 2 minors. So that's October 12th and 13th, and then the 26th and 27th of October as well.
Yep. I believe also, Allie, for this one, the two they're both going to be on different time. They're going to benefit different time zones. I believe one is catered more towards the west, and then one will be catered towards the east. So, you'll have multiple times. You'll have 2 tries to get in if you don't make the first one, but at least one of them you won't be waking up like in the middle of the night to play, which is good.
Yeah,
that's great point out. So that should be super, super exciting. And one more thing, before we get into the major here, is that the Parallel Prime World Championship will be held in the US. More like specific details to come haven't been quite released, but 2025, beginning of the year in the US. I'm so excited. I mean, that should just be absolutely incredible.
The first Parallel Con. I mean, it's gonna be insane, and yeah, really excited about that one for sure. For that one, I would say that's would be the first one for me, because I'm sure going to that one, first ever gaming conference I've been in my life. So yeah, there's not many of them here where I live. So yeah, very excited.
Yep. That one's going to be even better because that's just Parallel, right? So everyone from the community will be there. You'll be able to meet everybody. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of stuff going on outside of just the championships, which are going to be absolutely crazy. I know it won't be, I don't know how they're doing the full organization. It will be it's the first iteration. So I think it's partially invite. But the broadcast and everyone there will be cool. I'm sure people will come just to meet each other and that kind of thing. But yeah, I we've been waiting for this Parallel Pro season for a while, and we'll finally get to see one person, walk away with the championship. I remember a lot of the games that I played, who was the first champion, I was a big Dota person, so I remember Na'Vi when they first won the first Dota international. So to see it for Parallel will be crazy. I hope it's one of my guys, but the competition's fierce, and that's what everybody's focused on. I mean, we play all these tournaments, but at the end of the day, everybody's calculating points, and they're like, will I make it to the World Championship? And that's the big one.
I think there's something really cathartic about an in-person championship. I mean, we get a lot of the naysayers coming at us a little bit, but when they see that there's a full-scale production of passionate people, competitive players, culminating in one thing, I just think it'll be a really, really nice thing for the world to see, and prove that Parallel is a major game, and it's taking all of these things very seriously. All right, so I think we can probably get stuck into talking about the majors. This past weekend, we had the Swiss rounds. The competition was fierce, and next weekend we've got the top 8.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Quinto.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep. I mean, we see here the half of these guys have been already in top 8s, top 16s. We see Perp, top 8 from the kickoff, top 16, the August qualifier. Shogo also in the top 16 of the August qualifier, and top 8 in the Planetful Clash. Lambi, Lambi won the kickoff, the Parallel kickoff, the big prize. And he didn't participate in some of the other tournaments, but I mean, he would have kicked it. So, and we have Hylas also, who got in the top 16 September qualifier. I mean, this is really good to see players that are constantly getting to the final places of the tournaments once again in a major, doing the work, and getting there. It's just a matter of time for any of them to win.
These are all top guys at this point. Perp, he actually got 4th place at the kickoff, and he lost to who did he lose to? He lost to Sneakot, who got 2nd place then, and then he lost the 3rd, 4th place to Sequinox. So he's already like a top caliber player. He's been there at the top before. And he's the one who made Universal Neas popular. So he's always we'll go into decks later, but you'll see I hate this guy also just as much as I hate other players for their creativity. As a coach, sometimes it's like, you want some of these guys, you want what they have, the creative juices, and Perp's one of those guys. Shogo won. He's only one of 2 players that won the prime high stakes in-game tournaments. Him and Brighty. So again, super top tier player. No, I don't think he gets his as much credit as he deserves. The dude's a beast. He was when Kathy Byrne was the meta, he was like arguably in my opinion, other than like Zelius, or like the best Kathy Byrne player I've ever seen. Like he was really, really good with it. We all know Lambie. The dude jammed like over 1,000 games like every month, and he did it this time. He almost won like the leaderboard rank 1, like kind of like unofficial prize this month, but he went on vacation and he still got 2nd by like not a far margin. Hylas, go ahead.
Can you highlight Lambie's games real quick? Yeah. The man has 1,676 games right now in the current season. Like that is insane. And another little fun fact: only 10 players have cleared 1,000 ranked games, and Lambie's number 2. So it's just the man is just jamming Parallel, and it's clearly it's showing. Like he's doing really, really well in these competitions, and it's kind of nice to just see if you put in the time. A lot of the time you're gonna have good results, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's like 53 games per day, something like that. And doing 53 games per day, you have to play.
That's good math. What the hell?
Many hours, huh?
I said that's good math. You're just like, that's 53 games per day. I was like, that's pretty good math.
Yeah, well, I used a calculator. Just
okay. I mean, I was like, how did you whip that out that fast? That's
quick maths.
Quick maths. But I mean, just to put it in perspective, when I play like the grind, the absolute first day of the month grind, I think I don't get to 53 games in a day, and I play a lot. It's over 8 hours for sure per day. So
when I was doing day 1 grind, I think I ended like 80 to 100 matches when I was like fighting for master like regularly. Now
that's 2 days.
Yeah, it's in 2 days. So they did like it is 2 days. You're right. So they were still jamming more matches than me in those 2 days in general. In the Masters bracket. Yeah, exactly.
So that's doing the first day of the season grind every day of the season.
Can I ask what decks y'all are playing? Because I'm playing New Dawn on the first day of the season, and those matches take so long.
Why are you doing that?
I gotta stop doing that. Yeah.
You don't play Shroud on the. There were times where Neve was fine. I think like a few months ago, people were doing Neve. I was always either a Marco deck. So like back in the day, it was like Lemmy. Then I went to Scipius. Then Scipius. I remember when Triumph of Europa was first discovered. I was one of 2 people that was telling everyone that Cathari is broken, and no one believed me because Agincourt was like everyone was playing Agincourt on stream, and Agincourt was really good too with the drones, with the portable energy bay. And I remember Lambie telling me like, "You're crazy, man. There's no way." And then like a day later, everyone was playing it, but like. Those 2 days are like the Wild West. Like no one knows what's good yet, and everyone's just jamming whatever they think will give you the fastest games. So you doing New Dawn is crazy. Like good on you for sticking to your principles, but I would never recommend that. Like I was always Marco or Cathari. That's always worked. That always worked for me in the past.
the strat, I guess, is just the faster decks,
Fast
right?
games.
That first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
When you're trying to rank up the ladder, you usually play a faster deck because generally, even against control decks in the like climbing up, you'll have a better chance to just go at it quickly. If you know that you will lose early, you just concede and go on. And then if you want to change into more control decks or mid range, you can do it when you're higher in the ranks. But yeah, that's essentially
Leaderboards for fast decks, tournaments are for good decks.
Yeah.
Correct.
Makes sense. All right.
Wait, I wanted to really quickly finish the other guys because I think the other top 8 guys because we didn't get through all of them.
Please do.
And I want to give a shout out to some of these guys because as a coach, it's always cool to see when the players make it. 2 guys that are like kind of I guess newer to top seats are Satena and Hylas, who people don't know really well, but they're the guys from Exile, so I definitely wanted to shout them out a little bit. Hylas, also known by Nezzy, I think Nezzy is on his Twitter handle. He is, I believe, oh man, I'm not gonna say he's an Asian player. I just don't know what country. I feel like it's Japan, but he joined us literally a few days before we entered, like the major, and he did a little preparation with us. So I just want to shout out how good he was because he didn't even work with Exile too much, just a little bit, like last few days, and then just jumped in and got top 8, which is absolutely crazy. He was like in I forget what number he was, but he was like 3rd or 4th in terms of like the seat on Swiss. So he did really, really good. He his only losses I think were like Zara Strusa, who was the only undefeated in Swiss. Who he practices with Ganera and Zeliaser, who have topped tournaments before too. I think they both top 8'd the last minor, or something like that. So those guys are really good. That squad is really good. And we all know Fino. He's a streamer, YGG. I'm happy one of those guys made it, like Fino, Tyler, or Sequinox, any of those guys from YGG. So I'm happy they got Fino in. We had a few players play him. Like he took out two of our, kind of like players that we really like from the top seats, I think. Like he beat Brighty like pretty bad. Like he's so good with Brand and stuff. He beat Brighty and then he beat Manos. And I'm pretty sure Manos and Fino, like whoever won that match, was getting top seat. And he knocked out Manos. Manos, I think, got like 9th or 10th. I think 10th on this tournament in Swiss. So he just missed the cusp. But shout out to Fino. Like he versed all these guys verse tough players, but for him especially, it's a little, I guess, more personal because I got to see him knock out some of our players. But he played like a champ. So shout out to him for getting up, to top 8.
Yeah. Did he lose any match?
Yeah, I think he was X1. He lost only once. I don't know who he lost to, but he was an X1. The only X2s that made it were Lambie and man, I don't even remember who was the other.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I want to say is that with the tiebreaker, I believe that Fino beating Brighty and Manos would have been in his favor because the tiebreaker works in that way where it's like if you beat people that are good in the bracket, you get the advantage once it comes to the tie.
Hevel was the other X2. Yeah, so there was a lot of X2s. Some X2s only, I mean, like there's so many players, right? And so many players were good. But it really shows that you have to, if you want to reliably get it, you can only lose one in these kind of tournaments. Which goes to show you like how hard it is to get up here. I think there was like more than 20 X2s. I don't remember exactly, but like there were X2s. 2 X2s made it to top 8, and then some X2s didn't even make it to top 16. So it really goes to show you like how important those matches are, how the matchups are. I mean, part of it is like your tiebreakers, how good did the other people you beat did. So, you can't control all the circumstances, but if you want to make it, you can only lose one, which is, it's easier said than done. And then you can be, Zara went undefeated. He's going to try to break the curse that we've all seen. The undefeated, can they win a tournament undefeated?
Someone will do it someday. So
yeah,
very scary. But yeah. I mean, this is sweaty. Like the competition is fierce, and like you were saying, Mookah, some of these guys that have just come into the scene, like really recently and already getting a top 8, like that's pretty impressive. I'm scared of those guys for sure.
Yeah, and we actually, now that you say that, Ali, we actually have like new players in the ladder that are reaching the top 10, top 20, and they didn't participate in this tournament. So really excited when these ones join the fray here and the next majors and stuff, because I've seen many Hearthstone players, Hearthstone Pro players joining in and absolutely killing it in the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, the competitive scene is like a huge beacon right now for a lot of TCG players. Like, Snap doesn't really have a competitive scene. A lot of people are dismayed with the Hearthstone landscape right now. So, yeah, more and more players are going to keep coming in, and it's going to keep getting tougher and tougher. But there's one more major this year, I believe. This is the first one ever with a $50,000 prize pool. First place gets $20,000. Second place, $10,000. I mean, those are some pretty high numbers for prize pools here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like there's still time to get into this if you happen to be listening and haven't really.
I saw. Wait, is there another major that was added on? I saw that recently on the calendar.
Oh, is there? I know there was supposed to be 2 initially, but if there's a third,
I saw that. So there is a third. Okay, so if you ever are, for people that are listening, Parallel League.game. No, what is it? What's the website? Parallel. I have it bookmarked.
Yeah, it is parallel.game. Yep.
Yeah, parallel.game, and then you go to the events page, and now it's updated with everything. It used to be updated as it went on, as the season went on, but shout out to them. They've been getting better at it, and now we have the full kind of like calendar year for the tournament. So there is a third major that was added this time.
Yeah.
So we'll have to factor in how that works with like points and everything. But yeah, this goes all the way till March 1st, which is when we have our grand championship.
Yeah, so January 4th, looking like that third parallel major, and then a last chance qualifier on the 18th in January. So definitely more opportunities to qualify for the championship.
Yeah, the knockout sounds good. It's gonna happen in January. So since January, you'll be the anxiety that you already gonna be participating for the championship. That's good.
You get like a month-long boot camp. We'll have like Rocky montages of like preparing for Worlds.
Yeah. Actually, though, the content opportunities are quite endless there. I mean, we know that Tyler's been doing his series, and look, it's obviously a game of skill when it comes to the game itself, but learning how to keep your cool in a high pressure environment, that type of stuff, all that could use some training as well for the players. All right, should we get into the nitty gritty of the deck list? Kind of talk about what happened this past weekend.
Let's do it.
Yep.
I want to first shout out Perp for probably bringing the most interesting decks in the top 8 here. Everyone pretty much brought Unishop, right? But he actually brought, an Overclock Workshop, which is fascinating. New Dawn as well. I actually really like his New Dawn list with the 3 Venerated Raiders. It's not super greedy, but, it's going to do its job as New Dawn. And then I want you guys to talk about this combo that was discovered, like Perp's Kathy, Pyrrhic Victory, Shady Merchant, 3 Ammo Haulers. It's a fascinating list, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, Quinto, you want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before our conversation, definitely Raga from our Paragons team. He has been months with this, like the Ammo Hauler combo with the Shady Merchant. Basically, the Shady Merchant exchanges one of your bank cards with your opponent, so that triggers the ability of the Ammo Hauler, which is burn. Like when you remove a card from your bank, you burn one from the opponent's. So in this case, since a Shady Merchant just trades it, I mean, you're removing one from yours, but you're not actually removing it. You're just trading it, and that makes it so that you deny the ramp. In this case, that's so important now with the you support Cruiser, everyone's ramping around, and now this thing just counters it. But yeah, you can go ahead, Mook, and talk about the Fury Victory. That's a new one for me, definitely.
Prairie Victory is like what I thought about with Ammo Hauler, which is why like I never gave the Ammo Hauler a chance, because I was like, there's nothing else that works with it. And Prairie Victory, so for those of you who don't know, it's an effect card that costs 3, and basically both players get to choose a card from their bank and it goes to the waste. And it would combo with Ammo Hauler, because the main distinction for Ammo Hauler is that your opponent has to have more energy than you. And then when a card leaves your bank the first time in a turn, it'll destroy a card in your opponent's bank. So the Parry Victory is there, but I never thought it was good enough. So that's why I was like, oh, this Ammo Hauler combo doesn't work. But the Shady Merchant interaction, I found out about that yesterday. I never thought about it. And I remember when I saw the deck list and I read it, and I'm like, oh, that's why he's playing this. So I remember DMing Perp on Saturday, or no, it was yesterday. And I was like, how did you I hate you for figuring this out. Like, how did you figure this out? And his response was like, listen, right before the tournament, I just sat down and I read the cards. And he's like, this has limited field testing, and I think he just kind of threw it in there, and it did really good. The crazy thing about the Shady Merchant that makes this all possible is that it's a 4/3. So with Catherine, Rallying Cry becomes a 5/4. That's really, really good. And one thing that I really like is that I always thought that Markolian's like it was kind of awkward with Muriel that there wasn't other 2-drops you can hit. But Ammo Hauler lets you hit it, and it's a decent body. It's 1/3, so with the Kathy buff, it could be a 2/4. So you could play it on turn 3 with a 1 cost, and that's not too bad. That's pretty good stats. So yeah, I mean, and he's not playing any ramp himself. Yeah, that's what I remember. He's not playing any ramp himself, so he will always ensure that his Ammo Hauler is live because everybody else is playing ramp. So then he was like, okay, well, your deck strategy revolves around like getting to heavy, expensive cards. So I'm gonna make sure you stay down, and I can play down here like real just fine. So this was really, really smart. And he kept this one a secret. I mean, I don't think he got to try this too much. I think he just thought about it, and he thought he's like, okay, this interaction works. Like, let's do it. And it ended up going well, because on ladder and in tournaments, I thought Perp was going to have a tough time this tournament because he was testing a lot of Asio. He was, what's the name of the relic he was trying? The one that gives you double muster. Do you know what it's called, Quinto? It's got the dude with the flag. He's holding the flag. It costs like 2 or something.
Oh, rousing
Signum something. Yeah. Rousing Signum, yeah. So he was trying that in Asio, and I thought it was cute, but I was like, it's not enough. Like, let's, I know some Exile players would bring it up, and I'm like, let's skip that. Like, we're not gonna spend time there.
He wanted to do like double Asio monster.
Yep,
like that.
Yeah. He wanted to do double.
But is that even possible?
He wanted to do like generate token, and like you could double Meritus. I forgot what other musters he was playing, but it was basically like off Cunning Scipion and off the Exalts that you were milling. You were just generating a bunch of musters, and it was really good. But it was like too slow, and I didn't think it was reliable enough. So we were like, okay, move on. And I was like, I don't think Perp has figured it out. But then he brought this out, and he shut me up real quick.
I mean, some of the earlier Kathy lists, like when Catherine's Rallying Cry first came out, people were playing 4/3s. I can't really remember what.
Vigilant Patrol. That one comboed with the Quartermaster.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so, but getting effect wasn't like enough, like now. Yeah. So to see it like this was with the fleet support nerf, and everyone hopped off Vigilant Patrol anyways because Burn didn't need it. Like, they didn't need the damage. It could do the damage on its own. But yeah, with the stats on the Shady Merchant, it's kind of nuts. If you hit that in an Ammo Hauler, I'd be pissed if I was the opponent.
A great call out too on the extra 2-drops, because like Lord Hearthbeam, you run so many ones, right? And it's just like super triggering when you can't get any use out of them with the Muriel. So yeah, it seems like it's a pretty synergistic thing. I wonder, like, have you guys seen it a lot on ladder since the tournament? I mean, it's been so recent, but I wonder if people are gonna
No. This tournament wasn't broadcasted, right? So I don't think enough people know about it yet.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If it was broadcasted, I for sure think a lot of people would do it. I think this is one of those decks that, because it was like in a tournament, it did exceptionally well. And Perp is one of those guys that understands that, like, he doesn't. And Quinto, you've done this yourself, like with the vehicle deck when you brought it to, was that Allie's Minor? Yeah, like
Yes.
it's a lot of the game plan is like your opponent just not understanding what your deck does.
Right.
And if you can do that, like there is some, like, I think when my team started seeing Perp and looking at his list, we were like, okay, if you verse him, just ban the Kathy. That was our plan anyways. We can talk about that later. But other people left it in, being like, oh, I can beat Kathy, it's fine. And then like he kind of like was able to abuse mechanics that they weren't like thinking about. And it definitely gave him wins. Like he reliably, I think, was getting wins off Kathy. I was watching his matches a lot, like at least the progression. Like, did he win? Did he lose? And yeah, I think like leaving his Kathy open was kind of weird. Like, and it also forces the ban if you don't understand it. So some situations maybe is better for him. But yeah, Quinto, you know how that goes. Like I think Perp played you when you played vehicle.
Yeah,
and his exact response was, "I hold up, I'm googling your cards." Was like before the match started.
Yeah, that was his answer.
And he banned it. He ended up banning it. He banned the vehicle because he was like, "I don't know what this does."
Obviously, when everybody listens to this episode, then we're gonna see it on ladder, right? Because we're telling them, the people, about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, to answer your question a bit, Ali, for example, in that tournament after the year minor, people were like, "Hey, dude, can you send me a list of ADHQ?" And the first thing that I said to them is, "What? This doesn't work in ladder."
Yeah,
don't even try it.
There is this,
don't even try it.
A skill for ladder and tournaments, very different logics for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we're talking a lot about Perp's decks, but again, I think he was, brought the most interesting lineup here. What do you guys think of the decision to go for like Overclock Workshop instead of Uni? Like, super cool deck, always loved it. I think it's high skill cap, very interesting, but Uni Shop is just so consistent. So I was definitely surprised to see that.
I mean, I would say, like, my personal opinion on this is that he knew that many were coming with their lineups, including Shroud. So this could be like, this is a Shroud killer, I would say, a deck that really outperforms Shroud, and also the fact that an also interesting point here from all of these decks is that they are all running the Alvaro Interrogator for some reason. So yeah, that's my opinion on why, like, the thought process of why he would come with this like Augencore simple deck.
Yeah, I hope I'm right about this and I'm not just talking out of my ass, but like I'm pretty sure he banned Unishop the whole way through, or majority of the way through.
Yeah.
I can double check that, but I'm pretty sure he did. And if that's the case, like, oh man, I'm trying to remember if that's what he did. But like, regardless, I think this Augencore deck is actually really good. It's I think it's okay into Shroud, but I think it's better into Catherine. And like, I'll be honest, like Exile, we didn't test Augencore at all. Like, if everybody wanted to play Universal, and like we had to, really maximize our time for what we had. And so we were kind of like, okay, well, if no one is gonna want to play Augencore, there's no point in like pushing for that kind of testing. We can focus it elsewhere. But Perp has like always been an Augencore player. I think that's like one of his strengths, is that he really likes Augencore, so he's always trying to see how it can work. And Sestamir is really good into Catherine. Like, Catherine would require you like playing like a Miasmancer into like a repurpose hardware, which is like, there's only one repurpose hardware in your deck. So I don't think that's like enough. Miasmancer doesn't hurt it on its own enough. And just getting the defender tokens and stuff like that. Like, I think this deck is pretty good into Catherine, and I like it. I think it's okay into Shroud, but it's still good into Shroud. I mean, you have like the turrets and stuff, so it gets the job done. It's not good into Uni. It's really bad into Uni.
Yeah, super bad.
Real quick, like I'm kind of surprised that it's good into Shroud, because in my mind I'm like, well, if you can banish the upgrades and stuff like that, I suppose does it come down to the turret? Because I wouldn't have.
Yeah, the turret is like, I said I think it's okay into Shroud. Like, I think Quinto thinks it's better than I do. But I think like, I just think the turrets are like, they help slow down the game enough. And a lot of people have moved past Neve, so you're not worried about a lot of units hitting the board or whatever. But he's got 3 AOPs in there too, so I think like he can play the game, like just play the game really well. And Alvaro, I think Quinto, you brought it up, like he's playing Alvaros and stuff. Alvaro, I think, is just the best 2-drop that you can play right now. Unless you're playing. Yeah, unless you're playing like you're prepared for the mirror match and you want to do like Cunning Diplomat or something. Is he playing it in his Catherine too? He's not playing Ammo Haulers is 2-drop.
No, I mean in all the uni shops, for example, you have the
Alvaro. Oh yeah. Because it's the best. It's the only like the only other 2-drop you could consider is like Cunning Diplomat to draw a card in the mirror match. Like, oh, I have more card draw, so theoretically I can win off that. But yeah, Alvaro is just probably the best, and it's a remnant we all remember from Burn Catherine, but it's still good. And if you get 2 up into Brighty lost the game from Exile because he had 2. He's first someone that had, I can't remember who did it to him, but he went up against 2 Alvaros, like, and he was playing Shroud, and he's like, yeah, I banished one, I took 6 damage, and then I banished another one, I took 9 damage, and he's like, yeah, I'm already down. I'm already down 9 damage at the start of the game, which is like kind of rough.
Yeah, this is something. This is something else I was gonna say after you mentioned it. Is that definitely against Unit Cathy, this Augen Core deck is really good. Also, definitely going with 3 AOPs. Really thinking about clearing those insane boards from Unit Cathy, and if you manage to control this board and then just drop a Sesame or just drop off your big units, regaining tempo with MTAFs, outplaying them with the assembly mechanic, for example. Yeah, definitely super good.
I saw a screenshot in this tournament where Perp's Sestamir hit another Sestamir. Oof. And I think that was the end of that game for sure.
Juicy. Yeah.
And
once again, Perp really, really doing it.
Yeah. I honestly really like his New Dawn list too, because I feel like it's just not very greedy. And in this meta, I don't really feel like you need max greed. You're not running into a ton of other New Dawns and stuff like that. So 3 Engine Whispers, I mean, I kind of hate that card, but it makes sense. 3 Engine Whispers, 3 Venerated Raiders, like all, the stuff to do early. I saw a couple people throw in a Sacred Siphoner too, like that's coming back, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, he has it too. It lets you get into you don't get access to your Singularity as often anymore earlier.
Right, yeah. So I liked the New Dawn pick.
His list is, I mean, we tried Paradox and it was kind of cool. Like the theory is like you just get your Steward online and it's nice. But like this build actually confuses me, I'll be honest. Like he's got 1 Triumph of the Lost, so like he's weak into the Shroud Mirror theoretically.
Yeah, agreed.
But then he's also playing, like, he's not playing any PS8s, so like he's not strong into the Cathy matchup. Like it just seems really awkward to me. That like he's not like, I don't know what this is tailored. I guess it's tailored for Uni, but then I don't remember what he banned anymore. Like I'm confusing myself. I gotta go check. But
I feel like with the Engine Whisperers, maybe you do want those PS8s, right? Like clearly the logic is being lowered to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And better in the early game, but
he did fit in 3 Spectre Attackcraft though, which is like we opted like not to play that card as much. Some, like, I think at most some of our players brought 1. But like when I saw people playing more than 1, I got worried, and I'm like, maybe it was worth bringing it because it's still a good card. Spectre Attackcraft is great. LSC is just like better, obviously, because it ramps you up and you get to draw a card. But if you can't control a Spectre Attackcraft, it can get pretty annoying. So I mean, he brought it, and I guess his deck is more unit based, which does do well into a lot of matchups. So the build confuses me, but I can kind of see what's happening here.
No sling. I noticed there's no slinger in the Nudon. Not gonna make it.
That's only you. That was only you.
Gunslinger and Udon.
Yeah, he played it when Neve was the meta, and he topped.
No, I did that too. It honestly, like, you'd be surprised how often Gunslinger's pretty clutch.
You guys
like,
are crazy.
You know?
I'm not.
In your minor Allie, I think I beat Perp with a slinger.
Yeah. I think I remember that. No, it's look, it comes in handy. I can definitely see what you're saying though. The list is a little confusing. But I guess the logic was just like trying to be low to the ground. Go
it's low, more units, but then like I look and I understand that when I see Spectre Crackcraft, but then I see 2 Void Trapper, which is like one of the best 2 drops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did we get here? I'm just not sold on the Paradox, but I didn't top. I'm just the coach, so I'll give him the credit that it worked for him, obviously.
Yeah. No. You brought up some super valid points. Let's see. Yep. Well, I think we've talked a lot about perp stacks, so maybe we should move on to some others. Maybe let's start with Hevel here, because he was the only person that brought Earthen as the 3rd deck. Everybody else brought Shroud along.
Yeah, from the top 8.
Yeah, to the top 8.
Yeah. I know a few people wanted to try Earthen, like even on the Exile team, and I kind of just yelled at them and was like, no, we are not spending time on this. I mean, if anyone was going to make it with an Earthen list, it'd be Hevel. Like, Hevel was most known for Earthen. His actually biggest weakness in tournaments was that he wasn't as good with the other decks. But I think he's definitely fixed that, obviously, because he's in the top 8 in the major. But like his Earthen, he understands Earthen, arguably as best as anybody on the top end. And he played it well. Some people were arguing not to bring like LSC, the ramp card, but he opted to still play it. He's got 3 Miasmancers on his list, like 2 Photon Vanguards. Like these are cards that I wouldn't be thinking of, but he brought it in. It worked. He's got, I guess the argument is like a lot of board cleary cards, right? So he wants to deal with Catherine with this list. PS8, Spores, but he's also prepared for the Earthen matchup, right? The 3 Miasmancer. Miasmancer is actually good against Catherine too, because if you get it off on turn 3 before they go, like their LSC combo looks so weak. Even on turn 4, it makes it really awkward for them. So Miasmancer, like on curve or on turn 4 against Cathy, it's pretty good. Then even put in the 1 relic. Like Earthen's probably like my weakest parallel to like give feedback on, because I just think it's in such an awkward spot, but he made it work. He did good with it.
I would just
everyone's
that this would struggle Shroud, the classic Shroud thing. Like I don't know if you would really want to ban Shroud in the tournament necessarily right now, and I feel like this list in particular, like I don't know,
you have to ban Shroud. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like being the weakness, like okay, he's thinking, I'm gonna ban Uni, and then he has the weakness of Shroud there, and getting cooked. I was just gonna say, like everyone's talking about the logistics support cruiser being the GOAT around, but the Miasmancer, dude, this thing is not the absolute menace of the ladder and of the game right now. The fact that people can play 5 of these in a row and 5 different turns and block any sort of development from the opponent is just insane. So maybe, just maybe, we see that patch coming up doing something about it. I don't know.
That card was. I knew when I saw that card, I knew it was going to be a problem. I was like, once we have a deck that can like really go heavy on musters, like this card's gonna be crazy. And then like we got Uni made its full appearance like in full stride now, and even Catherine like uses musters reliably well, and even Earthen suffers against this card. They like build boards and they want to trade effectively with defenders, and then you just drop a Miasmancer and you're like, I trade how I want to. Like the card's so good.
Honestly,
I hate this card.
Guys, if anyone's looking for a really good Halloween costume to scare people shitless, Miasmancer's your go-to.
I think someone's going to call the cops on you before you dress as Miasmancer.
These things.
It's a scary boil right there, so...
Well...
I'm always a little surprised. Just one more thing on the Earthen is just like if you got Tane in there and stuff like that, just not go for the Gaias. Like I would have thought that a little less relic destruction, with spell Kathy not being as popular, but I guess people just still keep coming to the consensus that it's just not worth it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how this is another deck that I'm like kind of confused because like you want to ban Shroud, obviously. I don't know Hevel's bans too much during this tournament, but at the same time, like Tane gets wrecked by like Miasmancer trades, like because you can just cancel the aftermath. So it's not like Miasmancer and Master Poisoner deals with Tane. So like I don't understand like against Uni. I guess he just banks it, right? The argument is like I just bank it, and then it's good into Kathy. But even into Kathy, like you can Miasmancer kind of trade into it, and it's not that good. So I'm surprised he brought that, and then like the LSCs, like there's a lot of discussion. Like a lot of Earthen players said LSC is not good in Earthen, and then some say it is. So that one's the list is tough. Like I feel like for every Earthen list that I see from a player, it's just tailored to them, like their style. They know how it works, and it's not like a what's the analogy? Like one shoe fits all. Like or
one size fits all.
One size fits all. Yeah. Because like it's always customized to like that person's particular thing, and then someone picks it up and they're like, I can't win with this deck, and like they just don't know exactly how to play it. Like a lot of the core mechanics are the same, but the tech cards like really, really change up certain interactions, and it gets hard. Like I don't know, like it's hard to copy an Earthen list and play it the same as the guy who made it.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
I would agree with that. Earthen seemingly more than any other parallel. It seems like people get comfy with their list. And I say that because my roommate Sneaky upstairs, he's an Earthen maxi pretty much. And he's just gotten like really comfy with his version of the list, and it works for him. So yeah, I think that's super true.
Yeah, every time I play Sneaky, he's on the Earthen and finds a way to beat me. So yeah, definitely it's like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's see. Talked about the Earthen, also rocking, the pretty standard unit Kathy. It's the shift from with the repurposed hardware and the memento of the Fallen. I guess we didn't really talk about that, but it seems like that seems to be status quo over a couple of determined assaults.
Yeah. Yep. This is like this list of his is exactly like this is the list.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like this it's been tried and true, especially by Manos and Lambie. I don't know if Manos or Lambie figured out first. I think it was Manos, but I don't know. I'm not gonna put a name to it. But both those guys tried it enough on ladder that everybody that versed them was like, this card's good, and put it in. Like,
talking about Memento, Manos can include that card in a Shroud deck. So
yeah,
he's the one playing Memento all the time.
He likes Memento a lot. He sold me. I don't know if we'll run into a list today that has it, but he sold me on Memento in Universal also. I like it a lot. So maybe we'll see it. But yeah, this list from Hevel is like, this is the tried and true, and it works, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, and my notes here under Fino and Zara, I've got no spice because I'm pretty sure they brought like their standard lists that are tried and true, but
yeah. With those two, we can talk about like the Paragons a little bit.
Sure, for sure.
Because their Paragons are a little different. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead a little bit at Hevel's Uni shop, and I think how did he fit in a second Master Poison? Oh, okay, because he's not playing Annihilate. He opted for a third Master Poisoner over Annihilate. So this list is also like the tried and true now. And there's that Memento in there. The only other thing is like that third Master Poisoner is usually either a second collateral damage or one Annihilate. Like that's like the collateral damage and the Annihilate are right now the flex cards.
I gotta say the Master Poison, like the 3 Master Poisoner is pretty standard in terms like everyone's using the 3 Master Poisoner. I think it's not I wouldn't say the Master Poisoner is a flex point of these decks.
Really? I see a lot at 2 now. I feel like most people are at 2.
Yeah.
But either way, there's not much to change in this deck, for sure.
Yeah, we're at the stage in the meta where the lists are pretty tight. Like I'm looking forward to a patch, I think, to feel shake up here.
That's the one cool thing. Yeah. Or another
Shield
expansion.
expansion. Yeah,
Yeah.
expansion. Just throwing it there.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
It's coming soon. I think yeah, I don't know the exact date, but yeah, for like a month or maybe more away. Not too long. But one thing to note though that'll be, we've talked about it a little bit, is like most of these people, depending on the patch, may not be playing any of these decks,
Yeah.
for the top 8. So
Yeah.
that's going to be crazy. Like I'm excited and not excited for getting R2 Exile players through the mad dash of like discovering like what's good and what's not good in like 4 days before they have to play for, a grand prize of $20,000 for first, right? So
Oof.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be tough to like, you don't have a limited amount of time. You have to figure out, hey, what was working before still works. Is there something better? If something doesn't work, can we make something else new that works? And you have to bring a 4th deck compared to the 3. So
I mean, there's gonna be a new card also.
True.
I don't think it's no, but I don't think you can use it because it has to
no?
be no. Because so how it works with battle pass cards is they have to be out for over a week, I think, before the next tournament. So this one will be right at the start of the month, so you won't be able to play with the battle pass cards. But for anybody preparing for the YGG qualifiers, you will have to figure out if that new battle pass card is good or not. So that will also be tough. Because the majors, a week after the majors, is the first YGG qualifier. So
exactly.
we're gonna be pretty busy.
You're gonna be
look,
there.
as a spectator, like in a caster community, I think patches right before tournaments are honestly really exciting. Very stressful probably for the players, but you do also kind of get the glory a little bit. Like if you call the meta, like I think it's stressful, but the glory potential is higher. And also I think it's super entertaining for us to get to see a new meta. People get to test it out for the community. So I'm personally quite excited to cast and, kind of see what people come up with.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right, should we move to someone else? Who do we want to move to?
We can talk maybe about like brand. Like, let's see, we had 2 people bring brand.
Fino
it was
and Lambie
and Fino. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little context there. Lambie did not want to play brand, but he was so comfortable with it that he played it.
Interesting.
He was trying Nudon, and he couldn't. He was kind of telling a few of us in a chat that he was trying to figure out Nudon, and he couldn't figure it out comfortably enough. So he just swapped to play the brand, and he actually said brand was his weakness.
Okay.
He says, I think he attributes it to his 2 losses in the tournament. And it was and he did get it banned one time, so he was happy about that, he said. But Fino and Tyler have been jamming brand for a while, and I think they felt super comfortable in brand. Like Fino, we played for Exile players, for context, played 2 matches into Fino, and we locked in Neve against Brand, and both those matches we lost. So he felt like, and in those practice matches, we were destroying Brand. So like it goes to show how comfortable he was in understanding what his deck can do, what it can do, what's like the win condition. Obviously there's like, it's a TCG, so like certain situations have to go right for you at the same time. Like sure. I think Fino versus Manos, like he said on stream yesterday that like he's like, I high rolled Manos hard, so sometimes that happens. There's nothing you can do about it. But aside from that, like he did, like, it's interesting, right? Because one person didn't want to play it, but like just felt comfortable enough that they had it, and one person actually chose that I want to play this deck, and they both made it.
I have one question, Mookah, for you. How do you guys figure out that Neve was a better Shroud than the rest?
Well, I think it's still, like, you can argue it's still a thesis, right? But I think Neve was we thought Neve was the no, because we had 2 players that make it, but some people
it's already in the debate.
Yeah, but people made it with Nudon, people made it Brand, but like we came up. How did we come up with Neve? Is I want to give a special shout out to Jason Florent. He's one of our Exile players. He's a 2-time Magic champion, and he's part of Exile. He unfortunately has had no tops yet, but he's been like on the right below the line a couple times now, and I'm waiting for him to get his shout out in the shop in the shine in the limelight. I don't know, whatever it is. I'm really bad with like knowing the sayings. It's like time to shine, whatever. But yeah, like, so he came to us and he said, like, listen, Because I was saying Newton. I'm like, yo, let's just prepare Newton. Let's figure it out. And he said, you guys are wrong. Like, Neve is still the best. And we all gave him shit for it. I shit on him. Like, everybody shit on him. And then we tried 2 days of just random theory crafting. Like, we tried Sippy Universal. We tried Naeus. We tried so many lists, and like I think it was 2 or 3 days of like hardcore like theory craft testing, and we couldn't figure it out. Like we were like, we don't think that there's anything there. At least as far as we tried. We tried some wacky combinations. And after that, we were like, all right, screw it. It's Kathy, Universal, and the Shroud deck. And Jason put up such a fight that I'm like, yo, let's just do it. Like lock in the Neves. So let me go a little bit into like the theory crafting of why. So we tried Catherine first, burn Catherine versus normal Catherine. We did that for a while, and like, unless you were super well versed in one of those decks, it usually turned out who went first won the game. Amongst our players, like we ran like 20 plus like head to head games of Catherine. And it really like there was a few outliers here and there. Of the few outliers, like Unit Catherine won the most, going second. But it was a very small number. So I was like, listen, whatever Catherine you like, just play it. In my head, it was like, if you play Unit Catherine, you're more comfortable with Unit Catherine, you have more of an edge in the Universal matchup, go ahead. That's fine. If you like Burn Catherine, you have more of an edge in the Shroud matchup. That's fine. So just play whatever you want. So I let them kind of explore on that front. But what we kind of came to was that just ban Catherine, because we don't like the mirror match outcomes. The only person who kind of like didn't do that, or I think he ended up doing it too, but like he was comfortable with banning Uni, was Manos. And the only reason was because he has like over 1,000 games on Unit Catherine. So I was like, whatever you want to do it. Like he's played enough matches with the deck to like be comfortable with whatever decision he makes. So then from there we were like, okay, well, in theory, if you're gonna ban Catherine and you have Universal and a Shroud deck, like what does well? And Jason was on our ass that like Neve does best into Universal. Neve does best into Universal. So we played it, and it did the best. New Dawn. Okay, so Brand was like okay, but Brand in general is not that. It's okay into Uni, but it's not that great into Shroud Mirror. We don't like it into New Dawn. We were like, we kind of quickly moved on. We have one player named Comfortable. He also has been on the cusp a couple times in top seats. And he's like a Brand like pro. We were like, Comfortable, you play it if you want, but we're not recommending it to the team. And he kind of did that too. But for everybody else, like Brand wasn't working. And Newton's issue, at least in my opinion, is Newton has no win condition. Its win condition is not losing. And we thought that was bad, like especially into Uni, because Uni, has drone printers and stuff like that. And even in the mirror match, it's like too much in the air. Like it didn't feel like there was like there was no like it used to be like Void Unleashed, right? But that card doesn't work that well anymore. So, and Bora and stuff like that. But those cards aren't really playable or too playable right now, as far as were able to try. So we were kind of like, all right, well, we don't like. I don't feel comfortable advising a deck that has no win condition. So then we were like, let's try Neve. And the cool thing with Neve is that it does have a win condition. You play Neve and she summons a bunch of units and you win the game. And because of that, the Uni matchup just felt a lot better. Like, yes, you can get, you can still, you do all the normal Shroud stuff. You get Ingrided and stuff. Yes, Dominion is weaker, but you have like, it quickly became apparent that like if both decks are ramping, like my Dominion is still strong because I get to the energy eventually. Like I played against some Earthens in tournament and we were like, oh well, how will this work if your Dominion kind of sucks and they like outstat you because it costs 1 more now. And I just ramped twice and then I Dominioned the next turn and I just I had enough energy. Like the ramp really covered the Dominion nerf pretty well, so we were okay with that. And yeah, the rest is just normal Shroud play. Just the same thing as everything Shroud. But the mirror match, it was like really, you just had to know how to play against the demos, right? You would assume that they have 2, so you just kind of play for treacherous scheming. So some of our guys went crazy and played like 3 Power Instructor to search treacherous scheming. Some of our guys played 2. Some of our guys played 1. But like we were kind of just like, just get the scheming, scheme out the demos, and just play it, and you'll be fine. And it did work most of the time. Yeah, it was good. I think overall it was the right pick. The only thing I didn't was shocked by was like us losing to Brand. Like Fino beat us with Brand twice. And I was like, oh damn, like that was crazy. Like one, he played Brighty had like the whole board, and then he played Salvation, like Leonid's Bard's the Shroud ship, and stole 2 Honored Stewards from the board, and he just won the game after that because he just took the Honored Stewards and kind of just retook the board. And then I forgot how he beat Manos, but both Brighty and Manos were like, maybe we were like oversimplifying the Brand matchup a little bit, but we'll have to see. Like I mean, we'll go into it and see what the patch notes does. But yeah, Neve, in our opinion, was just really strong into Universal because you could just you can like play the game, treacherous scheming out the girls, and sure they drone printer you, which is a problem for Nudon, but for Neve, you just summon a board of like 6 or 7 units that are good, and then just like win the game. And then yeah, the Shroud matches are a little bit tougher, but it has a win condition. It surprisingly just felt good to like play a game where you're like, you have a win condition versus the other guy who's just trying to stop your win condition. So I hope that explains it a little bit. But yeah, it worked out pretty well.
I think that's a really, really good breakdown. For me personally, I just love playing Demolecularized so much.
Yeah.
I feel like with Stabilized Shard and the Logistic Support Cruiser, I can get to it faster. So that's kind of my gripe. And
what's nice too is that like Malia, I mean, despite Malia being weakened now with the Dominion nerf and everything, it's kind of like to the point where no one is thinking about it anymore either. So you can like play your game, play your Neve, get a strong board, and then you like Malia and they forgot about it, and suddenly your Malia is like pumping out 12 plus damage.
Yeah, that's true.
And just closing out the game. That happens quite a lot. So it's almost like people, it's so good because everyone forgot about it, kind of. Like maybe I think was why it was the right pick also. Yeah. We got a lot of inspiration from, well, Jason especially, but Jarla also, who is like a Hearthstone
he's
savant.
An incredible player.
Yeah, he's always been playing Neve, so I was like, if he's playing it and he still believes in it, maybe we should try it out a bit more. And but yeah, shout out to Jason for convincing a whole team to that's the thing. Like when you're in a team where everyone is like Master Plus qualified, when you're a coach, like it's not about like telling them how to play the best. It's about like listening to everyone's opinions and like taking all of that and helping them come up with a game plan that like makes it all work together. Because if you're a master, every master player is stubborn. Everybody's stubborn. They all think they know like what works and what doesn't work. They all want to see it in front of their eyes, like what works. So then you got to sometimes take the opinions and just jam out. There's times where so Bunny Hopper actually prepped with us this time. He's not an Exile player, but he came and sat down with us for a few sessions. And one of his biggest criticisms was like, there's a lot of good ideas, but there's some conflicting ones. Like you guys got to figure it out. So then like, we just sat down and jammed the games, and people that have opinions were kind of like, trial by fire. Like you just play it. If it works, shut us up. Show us that it works. And the Neve just worked, and we got shut up. Like everybody that was hating were like, you were right. And then we played it, and it worked really well too because Manos did not have a third deck prepared because he was jamming like over almost 2,000 games to compete with Lambie and secure his rank 1. So he's known for jamming Neve before when Neve was like the best deck. So we were kind of like, hey, we found Neve, like here's the list, and he already knows how to play Neve, so it was really good for him. And yeah, he's one match away from getting top 8. So it's unfortunate he's not in there, but overall for the team it was good. I'm happy that we picked the lineup that we did.
I'm curious to see if Lambie switches over to Neve because he was really known for being an incredible.
He said he tried it and then he played Dominion and it was so cringe he stopped playing it. I think those are the exact words.
Yeah. Look, well, honestly, you've inspired me. Shroud is obviously my favorite, and I'm partial to New Dawn, but you've kind of convinced me based on this conversation.
I just want to say too, I know I talked your guys' ears off for a second, but something that I thought was really noticeable this tournament is like I actually felt the most concerned when we had to like win with a Catherine. I don't know, like Catherine felt like almost like the weak link. Like we thought we couldn't counter Catherine, so we mostly banned it. But then we ended up in some situations where it's like, oh, just win with Catherine. And then we found out in our testing, but I don't know. We just like we didn't feel like there was another option. But we did feel like some shrouds that were tailored for Marco were doing fine. Like if you played PSA, it's in like a good core unit of a core base of units. Like you could win into Kathy. And that happened a few times. Some of our players lost into like a New Dawn or into a Neve. And even a Nezi or Hylas, he almost beat Zarastrusa in the last round. But he lost because both were like almost losing, and then Zarastrusa like just barely won with his Kathy because he triumphed and hit a gunslinger in his waist. Like he was like desperation he hit a Triumph of Mars, drew 3 cards from his waist and hit a gunslinger to win the game. But what I'm saying is like the Shroud matchups are harder for Unit Catherine than it was for Burn Catherine.
Yes.
So Kathy it just felt like nervous this time. I felt nervous this time around every time I heard that. Like, oh, I just got to win with Kathy, and I was like, oh shit. Like, are we good?
Honestly, I don't know who. It might have been Lambie, but I saw someone in Discord saying that the Unit Kathy is like debatably one of the hardest decks to play right now. Like it's actually quite more nuanced than people might have initially thought. And so that might be the other thing that's stressful going into it, is like, how prepared are you with it? Yeah. And on that note, who do you think in the community shines through? Like if you wanted to go try and catch some streams, I certainly would love to go watch
for Unit Kathy
at a high level with it. Who would you suggest?
Lambie. For streamers, Lambie. Yeah.
Yep.
Without a doubt. I was gonna say Manos too, but Manos doesn't stream right now. But so it's 100% Lambie. They both just have played so many games on that deck. Like it's muscle memory. Like I've seen them play each other too. Like they know the turns. They just do it. Just watch them. And Lambie talks a lot about why he's doing plays.
Okay, cool.
We did the Paragon Showdown last Thursday on our account. The VOD is there, and we had like Pepito and Lucky. Pepito played insanely well. Unit Kathy against Unishop. So if you want to catch that one up, and it's a great. I think it was great to see how he played and how these players played against Unishop, playing Unit Kathy. So yeah, just.
Awesome. Well, I think we're almost ready to wrap up here. I think maybe should we do a prediction?
Predictions?
Yeah.
Listen, I've always shied away from it, but Exile all the way. Hylas and Satana are coming for number 1. They're gonna get it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. The casters, sometimes I don't want to place a curse upon them. Maybe we could pick a couple. That way we're a little.
Pick a couple. All right, I picked 2 then. So you guys pick yours.
2.
Yeah, you picked 2. I want to see. I guess I want to see Fino and definitely Perp, who has been there. Like
Perp would be a really good one too. I wanted to ask Allie, Fino, like from him obviously from Hearthstone days and stuff. Like was he competitive player in Hearthstone before? Or was he always doing like content more?
Oh no, he definitely was a competitive player for sure.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
I think that at a certain point in a lot of competitive players' journeys, like the content creation route is a little bit more stable. Like a lot of the time TCGs, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people eventually move into that. But no, Fino was definitely very competitive in Hearthstone.
That's so sick. Okay. I'm very excited to see what he does.
Exactly.
He's very good. He's very, very good.
Yeah, he's just,
for sure. Definitely. I'm right there with you though. I'd love to see Fino get a win. But in the concept of like Hevel and Perp having the slightly different list, I always like, people try to be different.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think all of these players are incredible, so it'll be really interesting.
I think Perp would just be so cool because like I think a lot of people gave him a little bit of like they didn't give him as much respect because he won with like Unineus in a tournament where it was like not best of 3 in Swiss and stuff. Sure. There is kind of like, oh, he just kind of got it, like, whatever. But this time, like, I don't think you can ignore the man. He's here. So I like his storyline, how it's progressing, right? And this like pro circuit, he's like, listen, I may not be the most well-known name, but you're gonna start to see my name more. So you got to get used to it.
Yeah, he's been there, man.
Yeah.
I just think
also
really
obviously,
cool.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just think it's really cool when people have the skill of deck building. Deck building's very difficult. He's clearly someone who likes to innovate and is doing well with it. So, a big shout out to him for sure.
Did you guys all pick your 2? Did we pick your 2?
Yep.
All right. I think I will say also, I'm very curious to see if Lambie wins this also, the second 50K
That would be
tournament.
wild.
If he wins
That would
back-to-back
be
50K
insane.
tournaments. So let's see if he's gonna do it. I mean, he's got time to breathe now. He's not grinding for rank 1 anymore. So we'll see some of those creative juices coming. I'm sure.
Honestly, like, Lambie deserves it. He's such a good ambassador. He streams so much. He plays the game so much. Like, if he takes down the first major and gets another, $20,000, I'd be super happy for him, and I would love to see that as well. Okay, well, on that note, the broadcast next weekend starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Parallel's main Twitch channel and all the things. Day 1 is a round of 8, and day 2 will be the final 4. So make sure to tune into that next weekend. It's going to be really stacked, and like I said, there'll be a patch, so it should be very, very interesting. First major of the Parallel League.
First one.
Yeah, the first one.
That's gonna be crazy.
Let's see. I think we're about ready to sign off here. Again, remember those qualifiers for the YGG event we talked about at the beginning, the 12th and 13th, 26th and 27th. Don't want to miss that. And yeah, I suppose we will all see you next weekend on the cast. And this has been the first episode of the Parallel League podcast. Thank you, Quinto and Mookah, for coming on. I hope you had a good time, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
This was a 983 Media Productions podcast.